When will South Carolina's first loss come, and will it even come? Also, something just dawned on me besides, and it's from my lovely co-host Pepper here. Pepper, say hello. There we go. One thing we're not talking at all enough about with the receivers, we talk about it next. Locked On Gamecocks starts right now.
You are Locked On Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked On Gamecocks. I'm your host, Chris Marler. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Thursday night, Friday morning, Saturday, whenever you're listening to this. I hope you are doing very, very well. Thank you to everyone making Locked On Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. Shout out to everydayers. Remember, guys, free and available podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're on a pretty good run here, guys. We've done a show every single day this month, starting on Monday, which is, I think, only 5 shows. But either way, pretty pumped about it, pretty excited about the season. As you guys know, I'm fired up. A lot to talk about. I've lost my co-host. That is fine. Today's show brought to you by Energy and Enthusiasm, okay? We don't have a title sponsor for today's show, and I'm fired up because that means we get to get right into the nitty-gritty. So let's do it. Let's get into it. All right. I thought about this earlier, and here's the topics we're going to get into today. Okay, I'm going to talk with my hands a lot. You guys know I do that. We're in the middle of a rainstorm over here in Baton Rouge, which is wild to say the least. So hopefully the power doesn't go out and we don't lose any of the power or whatever. Anyway, also, I know you guys have been asking, when are you going to get the sign fixed? When is it going to stop saying Lock Ed on Gamecocks podcast? We'll go to Hobby Lobby this weekend, guys. We'll go to Hobby Lobby this weekend. Still get moved in, how to get to bed today, all that kind of stuff. But I'm fired up. I got a good show for you, ready in store. Here's what we're going to talk about today. All right. Where will South Carolina's first loss come? And here's the second part of that, a follow-up question, if you will. And you tell me what you think. Because I'm in the camp where I don't know if anybody is going to be able to go undefeated in the SEC at this point. I don't know. But where will the first loss for South Carolina come, or will it? Okay. Second follow-up, can they get through September unscathed? I kind of think they can. And I kind of get the feeling that come October 11th, after a week off and a 4-0 start, them boys are going to be rolling into Baton Rouge down the street from where I'm at right now. And they might be leaving Death Valley undefeated as well. But I don't want to get too ahead of my skis because I am, like I said, very fired up about today's show. The other thing I want to talk about is this. There was an article today from Ari Wasserman, and he brought something on 3. Ari's a good dude, does really tremendous work over there. On 3's buying up pretty much everybody. This show, as well as your firstborn child, will most likely be sponsored by On 3 by the end of the episode. That's mainly a joke, but they are buying everything. So we're going to talk about this. He brought up the question, does LaNorris Sellers have to be Superman this year? And I think the answer is no. The answer is no. And the reason why is because something that dawned on me today. We're going to hold off on telling you what it is. We'll do it in the second part of the show. But let's get into the first part. And that is, when is South Carolina's first loss going to come? Or does it? Okay. So you look at the schedule, right? We all know we open up with Virginia Tech, August 29th. That Sunday. I was wrong. I think I brought this up the day. You are the only game in that time slot. No NFL games on that day. And there's another game that night. I think it's an 8 p.m. game between Notre Dame and Miami. That'll be a big one. But you are the appetizer. You're the first course, whatever, by yourself. The whole world of college football, all eyes on us. Then the next week, you get South Carolina State. Then you get Vanderbilt at home, right? Then you got a tricky road game at Missouri, week 4. And then you got a game against Kentucky. Can this team start 5-0 in the month of September? We'll continue on. Where does that first loss come? I think the most obvious answer is October 11th. Now, up until that point, that game in Como is not super easy. That game in Como, with a Missouri team that has to play nobody with a pulse until the month of October, they got a lot of talent that returning that they got from the portal. Listen, the Missouri is a lot like South Carolina in a lot of ways in terms of they just don't – they were like – the fans and SEC and the media refuse to give them credit or to talk about it. It's just so bizarre. Back-to-back 10-win seasons. Now remember, we're a program that has struggled with them a lot. And that obviously you got the schneid last year against them. But, I mean, excuse me, we're talking about a team that is going to be at home for the entire first month and a half of the season, first 6 games. Half their schedule, they're at home. They don't leave home. So, can South Carolina go in to come home and win? I think so, because I think they're a better team than Mizzou. That is not going to be an easy game. I do not think that's a game you look at like Vanderbilt last year, where you go into Vanderbilt and you just blitz Vanderbilt from the jump, and it's 28-7 on the final score. I don't think that's going to be the same case in this one. I think there's a lot of people that might assume it might be. I think you talk about the first loss you're going to have. I think the one that pops up, I don't think it's coming until October, guys. I don't. I think the one that is in my mind that I'm thinking, okay, this one is the one that I get nervous about. It's LSU on the road, and it's Bama at home. But also, you get a week off before you play LSU, right? You get a week off before you play LSU. And if I'm correct when I say this, let me double check real quick, because it's things I should have done before the show. LSU schedule this year. There's a benefit that you get against LSU that Mizzou, I think, also might get against you, and that is this. You look at the schedule again. You got Kentucky the week before. That's a home game. Vandy at home. Mizzou on the road. South Carolina State, and then Virginia Tech. If you're 5-0 and you are rolling right through that part of the month, they get a week off before us too. Okay, like they get a week off on October 11th, but they got Clemson on the road, Florida at home, at Ole Miss right before. They haven't beaten Ole Miss on the road in their last 3 chances there. I think the benefit that you're going to have in South Carolina against LSU is kind of what Missouri might have against South Carolina, and that is you're going to have to put more on tape than they are, right? And maybe I'm wrong. I don't expect this team to come out and show every single thing they've got, every bullet in the chamber. Gun in the holster. What's a better analogy? That seemed like an aggressive one. I don't know if I like that. Either way, I don't think Mike Shula is going to be rolling out the entire playbook. Probably should have just said that. Early on against Virginia Tech, early on against Vandy, against Kentucky. And those aren't easy games, but I will tell you this. The idea that those games are kind of locks, maybe we're all ahead of our skis, and maybe we're all a little bit too overzealous thinking that, because listen, Kentucky's a team you've struggled with. Mizzou's a team you've struggled with. Vandy was a lot better than people think. Virginia Tech is kind of an unknown. 6-6 is a bowl team last year. Those aren't easy games, but you made them look easy last year. Not Mizzou. You made them look easy last year. Vanderbilt, you made look easy. You won that game emphatically. Bama didn't. Texas didn't. You beat Kentucky emphatically. Georgia didn't. Ole Miss didn't. So I think that's a little bit where the confidence comes from. You know what I mean? So where does the first loss come from? I do not think it comes to October. And I'm not going to get into if there's a second loss or not. I do get the feeling that we've seen this before. And this is the scary part, I think, for everyone facing South Carolina that sees that Gamecock logo on their schedule. Okay? And I'm probably saying this from a point of bias. But we saw this last year. First part of the season, Old Dominion, Kentucky, LSU, Akron. I think it was Akron, right? I don't know why I keep mixing that up. Ole Miss, Alabama. You're up, down, up, down. It is an emotional roller coaster, right? It's like dealing with me. But I will say, once they got it going, it took a month off to derail the whole thing. What if that's just where it picks up? Like, what if that's what this program is from now on? Like, what if that's the feeling of this team inside of those 4 walls? It's like, yeah, we got one under our belt. Watch what happens next week. We're going to keep getting better, keep getting better, keep getting better. Like, whether it's an inch, a foot, or a mile, we are going to only move forward and keep moving forward as a program. Like, what if that's what this is now? We saw it at the end of last year. And I will say this once again. I said it on radio twice today, and it drives me crazy that I have to keep saying it. But everyone that sits here and talks about this stupid schedule at the end of the latter half of the season, last year's schedule on paper against ranked opponents was more difficult than this year's. Okay? So I just look at this schedule and I keep saying, like, man, like, I don't know what happens in October. I don't. I saw us last year get dominated by Ole Miss. I saw them barely lose to Alabama. I saw them lose one against LSU they should have never lost, right? Also saw a win against Old Dominion, probably shouldn't have happened. But once this thing started rolling, once they went to Norman and kicked the crap out of Oklahoma, right? Do you remember that week? 4-point underdog to a 1-point favorite, start to finish that week. And I said it on the first show. This is one of the things I was most right about last year. I remember saying the wrong team is favored on the Monday episode. The wrong team is favored. But you saw it last year. Once it started rolling, once that thing started going downhill, once this snowball turned into an avalanche, it didn't feel like this team was going to get denied. So my question is this. If you get through September undefeated, why on earth are we sitting here thinking, oh, well, they'll slow down at some point? Because that's not what happened a year ago. And you got a lot of dudes on this team from a roster standpoint. We talked about the blue chip ratio. We talked about I know you lost some leadership stuff, but man, there's some talent on this roster. All right, I've gone too long in the first segment, which is the staple of this program. Thank you very much. I do it every time. When we come back, we are going to talk about a couple of things. But one of the things we're going to talk about is LaNorris Sellers. Does he have to be Superman? And one of the reasons why he doesn't, I realized today, Eureka, and I'm so excited, the light bulb moment I get to share with you guys when we come back. Locked On Gamecocks continues right after this. Yo, welcome back in. Before we get into our next part of the show, I want to talk to you a little bit about our friends at FanDuel. Listen, you guys know this just as well as I do. Summer sports, they are in full swing. And whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. One of our favorite listeners, David Carter, went up to Fenway Park this weekend, put in some bets for the Red Sox, who are super hot right now. So if that's your thing, man, if you're already following the action, why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, super fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. I'll tell you what, if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. All right. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. We have lost part of the power. We're back. There you go. This thing sucks. But let's get back into the content. And I tell you what, guys, I feel good today. I feel good. I feel really good. And we get closer to this season. I keep waiting for that kind of like, oh, but what if this happens? I just feel good. I feel good. So the article that came out from Ari Wasserman today, Ari does a great job, like I mentioned. Does LaNorris Sellers have to be Superman for South Carolina to meet expectations? Okay. He gets into the thing about, I think a quote from Beamer around Media Days. The quote was this: I think we're going to be better around LaNorris as well on the offense, more depth and competition at pretty much every position. Something you've heard here. I feel like that's going to help him. He doesn't have to be Superman for us. Just continue to be the person he is, the leader he is, the player he is, and watch him continue to take the next step. The biggest question around South Carolina football is this: does Sellers have to be Superman for the Gamecocks to reach their lofty expectations? Beamer says no. The reality, it's hard to believe him. Let me stop right there and be very, very clear. Okay? Very, very clear. But those are not my words. Those are Ari Wasserman's words. And Ari Wasserman does a tremendous job covering college football. I'm not saying I do a tremendous job covering South Carolina or covering anything for that matter. But I will tell you this. This feels like to me the taste of what we had last year from the whole national media telling us, oh yeah, Beamer's on the hot seat, man. Dude, if they don't win this many games, Beamer's on the hot seat. Vegas has them only winning 5.5 games. How are they going to even get bowl eligible with that schedule? Oh no. Oh, they got to go to Death Valley. Here's the thing about LaNorris Sellers and him having or not having to be Superman. He doesn't have to be Superman. You have elevated every single area around him on offense. Maybe not the offensive line, but I will maintain this. There's no way, in my opinion, that the offensive line could be worse than last year, right? I have a hard time believing it could be worse than last year, right? So, excuse me. Here's what I keep going back to. If you're going to sit here and tell me, well, I don't know if they're going to be as good because like he's going to have to do everything for them. No, he has to win 10 games. And I should have said they have to win 10 games. The assumption that LaNorris Sellers has to do everything for them to win, like think about the Clemson game last year. He was phenomenal. He also made a lot of mistakes. Fumbles, Rocket Sanders fumbles, interception. I think it was an interception late in the fourth, or was it a fumble? Either way, a turnover with like 10 minutes left and behind. Still overcame all that. And by the way, after that happened, you know what else happened? Demetrius Knight Jr. with an interception to seal the game. Dylan Stewart coming off the edge and getting in the backfield. Like the defense kept you in every single game. And you can sit here and be all upset and say, oh, the defense lost so many players. How are they going to replace them? I don't know. How did they do last year? You think it was just lightning in a bottle? No, if you do, then you haven't been paying attention to Clayton White. You haven't been paying attention to this program. Because I'm not saying they're going to have 5 NFL draft picks off this defense from this year, because I don't know if you have 5 draft-eligible players that are going to be available for it, right? I do think you are going to have several players that are going to step in and produce in a similar fashion than we have seen over the last several years. There's a reason why not just last year's unit, but this program as a whole under Clayton White, and I know I'm fired up, I know I'm yelling, but there's a reason why this program as a whole has led the SEC in turnovers and forced turnovers over the last 4 years. That is one of the first statistics people go to. That's one of the first statistics they go to is that and close wins. Well, year over year, if it's 2023, well, I don't know, man. That turnover margin they had last year, they were +9. How are they going to replace that? And then you go the next year with Clayton White's team, and it's, oh, by the way, they were able to do that and once again be near the top or at the top of the entire SEC in turnovers forced, right? That's not just a string of luck that happens every single year. Any South Carolina fan or anybody that's been around this program will tell you luck is not one of the things that usually goes hand in hand with this school, right? You had 24 turnovers a year ago. It was the what do you call it? 4th most in the conference. Year before that, you had 17, right? Second or tied for 3rd most in the conference. Year before that, you had 23. Year before that, you had 24. This is not just some string of luck. And if you want to get really into it, in 2020, I know they only played 10 games. They only had 11 then, right? How about the year before that? You only had 17 in a Will Muschamp defense, which that's kind of his only thing he's good at, right, is defense. The year before that, you were 9th with 16. This is a Clayton White thing. The defense is going to make plays. LaNorris Sellers isn't going to have to go out every Saturday and outscore whoever's on the other sideline. There's going to be a Saturday he will. I tell you what, people hate Gary Danielson. There's a comment from Gary Danielson I'll never forget. It was in the 2012 Alabama LSU game, I believe. And I remember talking about this at Media Days a couple years ago. And it's a quote he had, and he stands firm by this every single year. And he said, I think in that game, the story was Bama was losing to LSU late. It was like 17 to 14. And Gary and AJ McCarron was the quarterback. It's 2012, and they were down by 3 with 1:52 to go. And AJ was 1 of 7 or 1 of 8 for 7 or 8 yards in the second half. He goes on a run. He connects a bunch of passes in a row. They hit a screen pass. They win the game. The quote was this: every now and then, there's one game a year you can circle. If you're a contender, and South Carolina's a contender, if there's one game a year where you're saying, you got to go out and win it for us, man. You got to go out and win it for us. Missouri last year. I got goosebumps right now talking about it. You got to go out there and win it for us, man. You got to put us on your back. Carry us across the finish line. That's what a Heisman Trophy candidate does. I'm yelling. I'm so fired up. That's what players of this caliber, and he is of that caliber, do. But he's not going to have to do it every week. Get to 10 wins. They almost did it last year. Why didn't they do it? He was injured for half the LSU game. That probably helps. Like, I look at this and the idea that this is a one-man show is so fundamentally stupid and so fundamentally wrong. You are outing yourself. If you're saying this, you are outing yourself as somebody that doesn't know what else else is on this team and what this program has done. Point blank, period. It doesn't take that much of a ball knower or whatever you hear from Gen Z on Twitter nowadays to sit here and say, oh, is he their best player? Is he going to be Superman? Who's their next best player? Oh, it just so happens to be arguably the best defensive player in the country on defense. Oh, man. Well, I don't know. Maybe that guy will take over a game. How many times have we seen that happen? With him. That's why you won the game against Old Dominion, because of him. Dylan Stewart. Like, all of a sudden, like, LaNorris is a one-man show. It's stupid. It's a stupid sentiment. Now, I'm here to tell you again, he's going to have to win you a game, at least one, maybe two. I don't know. But look what he did last year. Like, look what he did last year with his back against the wall against Mizzou, against Clemson. I mean, like, dude, look what he almost did at Alabama. Look what he did in 1.5 against LSU. You're sitting here and telling me, oh, no, he's going to have to be Superman. You beat Oklahoma by 26 points. He had arguably his worst game statistically. Like, what are we talking about? So, is he going to be Superman for them to get to their goals? No. South Carolina is a good enough team that it's not going to take some Herculean effort from just LaNorris Sellers for them to get to 10 wins and make the playoff. It's not. It's just not. Like, him playing to the level that we expect him to play at is what can propel them to that. There's enough talent on this roster, like, all over the field, that could show you, no, he's not going to have to do it all by himself. This isn't Kevin McAllister in Home Alone. We're not setting up booby traps near the window under the Christmas tree. No. Like, he's got help. When we come back, the light bulb moment that I had, that I've been talking about for most of the episode and alluding to, I'm going to tell you the other part of it. Okay? When we come back, Locked On Gamecocks continues right after this. All right, let's close out today's show with this. And I hope you guys are having a great day. I really do. I am just kind of like a different person over here. You know what I mean? Out of Atlanta. I have internet. The internet's working. Remember how awful last year was without the internet? Messing up all the time. I genuinely mean this so much, guys. I hope you guys are having a great day. I am so happy that we're in a position now. I know I'm further away from Columbia, South Carolina, as much as I hate it. I do like where I'm at right now. It's a lot of fun. But I miss home. I miss my mom and my stepdad in Lexington and, you know, my mom's church. I miss being in that action. But I will also tell you this, man. I am so grateful that you guys have stuck around for this show and watched it through, like, the ups and downs of the internet stuff and like the just ins and outs of all the other crap that was going on. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And I really cannot tell you guys enough how much I appreciate each and every one of you that's listening to this show. Now, if I can get over whatever cold I've had since I got here, we'll be firing on all cylinders, guys. All right, so here's the deal. Light bulb moment that I had today, okay? You want to talk about one of the main reasons outside of what I wouldn't say told you, but yelled at you about why I don't think we're going to have the same type of issues this year with what do you call it? With Sellers having to be the guy over anyone else, right? And it had to be Superman. Do you remember a year ago all the talent that we thought we had at the receiver position? It was like kind of budding with talent. We had Harbor, right? We had Jared Brown in from Coastal, kid from Parkview High School. We know that Parkview High School does nothing but turn out elite athletes, but Jared Brown comes in. Mazio Bennett as a true freshman. Delvon Campbell at times, right? Vendravius Jacobs, we expect things out of him. There were Gage Larvadane from where was he from? Bowling Green? Somewhere from the MAC. But either way, we sat there and we're like, okay, we can piece this together. We got some guys. Like, there's a lot of guys that would be in the slot and running those type of routes and stuff like that. But more than anything, how much time was missed from those players? How many games did we see them go where they were banged up or injured or whatever, and were kind of non-factors, right? I'll give you one of the best examples I can give you, okay? Delvon Campbell, I love this kid, mainly because of what happened against Missouri. 2 catches, 86 yards. Next week against Wofford, 5 catches, 120 yards. Do you remember what he did the rest of the season? That's the only 2 games he had all year with multiple catches. It took till November 16th for Delvon, I don't know, guys, to finally kind of scratch the surface of his of his talent and productivity. Jared Brown, Parkview High School, didn't have a catch against Old Dominion, right? Didn't play in 4 games. Had 1 or less catches in 5 of the other 8 total, right? He had 5 of the other 9. So he had 4 games where he had multiple catches. He was 2 for 48 against Missouri with a touchdown, 3 for 41 against Clemson, against Kentucky, 4 for 50, 3 for 48 against LSU, but then did not play. 1 catch for 5 yards against Ole Miss. Out for Bama, out for Oklahoma. 1 catch for 1 yard against Texas A&M. Jared Brown was hurt for a lot of the year. That's production that you were counting on, and that was production we were counting on as a team and a program because you didn't have a ton of talent there yet that was ready to go. Does LaNorris Sellers have to be Superman? He probably does if you have a wide receiver room that's as banged up as that. That is as up and down from a consistency standpoint as that. Outside of Nick Harbor, outside of Josh Simon, outside of Rocket Sanders coming out of the backfield, it wasn't like each week you're like, hey, I know that these 3 guys are going to take the field when the whistle blows. That didn't happen. And I'm not saying that you're going to go through the season unscathed and uninjured this year. What I am saying is you're going to go into a season with more depth at that position than you've ever had in program history. You're also going to go into a season where you have more talent at that position than you've ever had in program history. If Russell Faison is eligible and the NCAA does the right thing, that's just another thing, another feather in the cap for LaNorris. If this offensive line can somehow manage, here we go, lights are out again, can somehow manage to not give up 41 sacks, that's another thing. LaNorris Sellers had to be Superman last year for South Carolina to go 9-3. LaNorris Sellers had to be Superman in 2024. This is 2025. And he does not have to be Superman this year for this team to reach its goals, period. That is all for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode as well. Until then, happy Friday, happy Thursday, whenever you listen to us. Go Cox.